I need love. I need space.
Wow.
I need breath.
Oh, my heart just did something there. Every time you tell me a story of one of your clients, it just blows my mind a little more.
Growing up, when I was 3 months old, my dad was diagnosed with brain cancer. I'm done with this. I need to make change in my life. It's not feeling good because I'm numb to the world around me. You can't get healthy in the same environment you got sick in. I love talking to people and I love facilitating connection, change, and growth.
It's like, this is it. This is it. Is just like really going out and asking, how can I really help whoever's in front of me?
So when you realize that money is a healing tool and it helps yourself, it helps others around you.
Get yourself out of the door and go put yourself in the room and then let it unfold.
And when it comes to growing your coaching business, let people just talk. You don't have to have every answer for them. But you can tell them we'll work on a solution together.
Hey everyone, welcome to True Self, the True Self Accelerator and the True Self Accelerator podcast. The True Self Accelerator is a place for healers, coaches, creatives, and solopreneurs to get profound inspiration as well as practical advice for launching and expanding your offerings. In this show, we explore key questions. What are you intrinsically motivated to do? How can you start doing those things right now? And how can you get paid while you do them? Connect with people who are discovering where their life's purpose meets financial prosperity. If this work speaks to you, click the link below this episode to join our free empowerment group, a weekly Zoom session with live Q&A and opportunities to meet the community and share what's working. With that said, let's dive into this episode. Ethan, you've just been such a joy in my life, just such a wonderful person. Definitely, MySpace top 8 for sure. And just having you on the show today, it means a lot. I can't wait to hear your perspectives, dive into your life. I know you have an amazing story, a lot going on. So without further ado, I would love to welcome our very first guest, Ethan Radstone.
Thank you so much, Matt, for having me on. I'm very grateful to be your first guest and just excited to dive in and really see where this takes us. I have no idea.
Yeah, right. The unknown. Yeah, I think there's so much to be said for that unfolding experience, right? Like I have an idea of where we're going, but we'll see what it actually is.
Exactly. No, it's an interesting mindset when you can prep for something, but just say, you know what, let's just dive in and see where it goes and lead with the heart.
Absolutely. So, hey, would you love to introduce yourself, your work? What are you up to these days? Give people a sense of who you are in the world?
Yeah. So I'm Ethan Radstone. I'm an intentional living practitioner. I work with clients on how to facilitate a life that has meaning and intention from your own heart space, that you're living in a space and your interactions create ripples of kindness, of love, of your true self-identity to everyone you touch, and most importantly, yourself as your own mirror. Yeah, just in life right now, a lot has been a lot of research, a lot of self-study on how to deepen self-awareness, how to spend time with more meditation, with coming back to the breath, and just being patient with myself and the process of self-actualization is learning more about who I am.
Yeah, I love, what you're sharing. It speaks so clearly to the level of introspection, the level of self-awareness that you have. And what I love about you and your work is that it turns into this really practical application where you're actually showing up and like super helping all these different types of people. Yeah, I would love to just hear just a few more specifics, like types of clients. What are you up to these days?
Yeah, so with clients, it's about ritual. The difference between a habit and a ritual is intentional, a habit is automatic. So with my clients, we work off of seeing what their current life ritual and pattern is. From the moment their eyes open to eyes closed, what does their existence, their breath, their life look like? Analyzing from what their first thoughts are of the day to how they treat others, their first interactions with others, how they're nourishing their body, their mind with different thoughts. It's taking that holistic and full lifestyle approach so that every action they take is intention fueled, that their focus, that their drive it encaps it encapsulates and encapsulates their heart, and just they can live through that heart-centered nature.
Well, that's profound. I've never heard somebody make that distinction. Ritual and practice, was that the other word? No, habit was your other word.
Habit.
Yeah. And so am I understanding right? So a habit is something you're kind of just doing on autopilot, whereas a ritual is something you're really choosing to do in your day. You're really making the time for it, even if it's not autopilot yet.
Exactly. Because when you're living in intention, you're really wanting the best for someone and yourself. Because when intention is there, at the root of at most of our hearts, and I'd say the heart of every soul in this world, it's to love another, to love ourselves, and to have that sense of joy and peace in our life. And when you step into that ritual, a morning ritual can just be saying, "Hey, I love you," meaning how you love yourself. Oh. It could be how you make your water just a little bit warmer for your body to warm yourself up. It could be doing a nice good stretch when you wake up. It's asking your body, your mind, what does it need to thrive that day? What can you add? What greatness can you add from your body? So what's to add to your body? So what's not needed will go away.
Yeah. Can you, so, I mean, I know you have lots of different clients, you're helping lots of different people. Can you give just some like top 10, top 3, whatever the number is, examples of rituals that you've seen really make a change for people?
Yeah. So there is a wonderful client I was working with, and what he was struggling with is depression, lack of drive to what he wants to do with his life. He dealt with hospitalizations from like depression, massive anxiety attacks. He had a breakup, and after a multi-year relationship, and then not know how to release that. So it was trying to figure out the right tools to use. So we began with the practices of one, how is he nourishing his body the first thing? Because, for example, our liver holds toxins. It's a filter of our body. So first thing in the morning, have a glass of nice warm lemon water, getting the body moving. Then from there, it's sitting outside with the sun in the morning, not staying inside on the phone, on the screen, but being outside in the sun, just to feel the sun's energy, to meditate, to breathe, just to be in his own silence, in his own space. And from there, the plan elaborated. We went in from adding cold showers to get his nervous system warmed up, to joining yoga classes, doing a little bit of yoga at home as well, interaction again closer with his mom. When this whole breakdown happened, his relationship with his mom was fragmented, and she invited him back home to help heal and step back into that motherly role and for nourishing, but he did not know how to relate to her. So setting up exercises such as a morning or afternoon or even evening gratitude session, just having some time to say why he's grateful for her, what he appreciates, why does he love her, why does she love him.
Wow.
If it's just being held, cuddled, simple but true, heart-centered, I would use the word primal, but a very instinct nurturing system to regenerate. And then the key one was actualization, of having a journal that he would write down every day about what he's going through and what solutions is he looking for. Because one of the things I proposed to him and we worked through was that every problem has a solution, and you have to be solution oriented. And when he wrote down something that's a conflict to him, why is it there? Recognizing it, and what's the solution to it? Because that also can mean non-attachment, saying, hey, I recognize that I'm feeling anxiety. Does it serve me right now to have this emotion? What do I need to do to self-soothe? If it's from meditating, chanting, taking a nap, going for a walk, finding vibrationally and frequency uplifting behaviors and actions, intentions, which would improve his overall quality of life.
Wow. Yeah. It's almost like I almost want to say the word like resuscitation practice. I think many of us have experienced the kind of the slip into numbness or just kind of default living. And yeah, the way that you're kind of making an account of, hey, what's actually off in the field right now, and how can we actually take those steps to come back to the vibrancy that I think maybe I would like to say that many of us are looking for.
Yeah, it's owning the fact that we are amazing people, that we have a lot to give, but we have to know how to give to ourselves first. We have to start with the self-care, with the nourishment, and being patient. One thing I experienced recently was actually something called a theta chamber. Have you heard of the theta chamber before?
No, what's that?
So a theta chamber is kind of like an egg type device. You lay down, it's a little egg that closes over you, and it has soft lighting in there. There'll be a little light panel that goes over your eyes softly that flashes different frequencies of light.
I love it already.
Yep. You lay down comfortable with a little blanket. You'll do a voice sample before you go in the theta chamber. So it actually reads from vagal nerve. So actually you can say to tell machine what's going on in your tone, if there's emotional trauma, physical, and what healing your body needs. Then the machine produces, this is after 20 years of development, a binaural beats tone that you'll wear on your head in little headphones while you're in the machine, and actually is giving binaural beats to facilitate healing in the body.
Wow,
and then
it's customized. It's really like it knows what's going on.
Oh yeah,
it knows who you're mad at, or.
And to top it off, the machine even spins. So it pulls your body, you don't feel it because it's a perfect gravitational pull.
Okay, wow.
So yeah, so the point of me saying that is it's theta state. When before the age of about 7, that's when we're the highest in theta. It's when we're laying down in grass and we can zone out and just see the beautiful world above us, think about what our life is going to be. Really just when we lay down in bed at night, we could truly get ourselves to sleep, meditate, no other thoughts, distractions. That's what monks work for. And that's what their practice is entering that theta state through meditation. And that's a direct correlation to intentional living. Because if we enter into theta, we really can tap into our thought process and being singular on our focus to manifest what we're looking for in our life.
So is that the kind of the guiding principle of your rituals, is to aim towards theta state? Is that correct?
Yes. That's it. It's a practice. It takes time, but time can be a day, a week, a month, a year. It's about how much are you willing to trust your natural instincts and your heart center and your body and everything to really feel safe and to tap in that space. And of course, one of the foundations is being in a safe space, making sure that you're in an environment that is soothing and healthy and vibrant just for yourself, so you feel safe. But when you're in a conducive, healthy environment, then you can enter into that theta state truthfully. And throughout the day, it's a hum, an om, listening to just some nice, chill music that puts you in a really good, blissful meditation space. That's when you can really have those satoris, those epiphanies when you're walking. Like, man, this is a great way how I can improve my life. It's those little tricks.
Yeah, getting out of fight or flight into a more spacious. I can just see how each of your practices, each of your rituals is just one more piece of kind of a healthy place for your nervous system to live, right? Whether
exactly.
It's interpersonal conflicts or dietary, or I know that so much of your work and so many of the conversations we've had are very much around diet, very much around what are we putting into our body. Would you like to say more about that?
Yeah, when it comes to diet and what we're putting into our body, a question to ask yourself is what I'm about to put into my body going to add to the quality of my life or diminish? Does this food have love, nutrients? Is this food going to nourish me or deplete me? And that food is everything. The food can be from the air. If you're around an area that has high smog, chemical pollution, you're ingesting that. If it's making sure you have an air purifier in your home, for having clean water is an especially potent piece when it comes to healing, is get your water tested. There's tons of resources online when it comes to just water testing. You can look up for your city and state and look up water testing places. There's lots of private businesses that will look at different levels of fluoride, chlorine, lead, chromium, different things that are in your water. And I would suggest getting that tested. And then from there, looking into either a reverse osmosis system, that can be countertop, below the sink, your whole house, enabling some sort of filtration system for your home so we can really purify our water.
Yeah.
Because our the water's going through pipes that have not been changed in over 20, 30, 40 years. There's not some evil vendetta or anything out there to hurt us. It's the fact that pipes in their metal, they get bacteria and chemicals and metals leach over the years. So it's just good to make sure that our body is really receiving pure, clean water. Next source is even well water, fresh spring water, an aquifer. There's different sites you can go online to look up fresh spring water that's potable, that's close to you. And then most of those sites also show testing. So yeah, so it's looking at your type of water, remineralizing the water. So after it goes through reverse osmosis, it's clean water, but it's also stripped. So there's nothing really in it, but just pretty much just H2O. So it's mineral deprived. So just put a little pinch of Celtic sea salt, Himalayan salt in there to make sure your body's getting the right minerals.
I have a friend in my life who's just totally all about Celtic sea salt in the water right now. That's like her thing. And I put a pinch of Himalayan salt in my water the other day, and I think it was too much. it was hard to swallow. But
oh yeah, they can get salty. And yeah, it's a water point of how your body feels. Making sure you're just hydrated. A key test is just looking at your urine. If it's really dark, you got to hydrate. You got to really take care of your body to make sure you're getting that neon green, not looking for completely clear, because that means your body it's pulling too much, but having a little bit of yellow is natural for the body just to have that release. Stepping into the food space. Food is a multi-layer and a very personal journey. I believe one of the areas of areas I'm practicing and learning right now is blood type dieting. There's a book for Eat Right for Your Type, and it goes over what specific diet foods should you be including and excluding from your diet based on your blood type. So for myself, I'm B positive. B positive is a nomadic blood type, meaning that I can be almost all vegan, plant-based. I can eat some meat from lamb, eggs, mutton, rabbit, more of the nomadic food-based diet. Lots of root vegetables. So that's how my body works. Because with B positive, there's some protein in your blood, but not a ton. So there's still some binding. So your body still holds on to protein, versus O types have no protein attached to their blood structure. That's why they always crave meat, because they need the hema iron to really flourish and feel great. So food wise for clients, it's about knowing your sourcing of your food. Are you shopping at a co-op, a farmer's market, supporting your local farmers who are using good agricultural practices from no harmful pesticides, growing within the seasons? There's a philosophy and mindset behind permaculture, agroforesting, and also monocrop. The idea is, with the food for myself, and I recommend for others, is to stay away from monocrop, meaning that it's one row of vegetables and it's only one type always. The issue is that's pulling minerals consistently from the soil in that one section, and it's depleting from other areas, versus growing different vegetables that work together in the same line. So when one dies, the minerals from the leaves feed the next life cycle of the other vegetable. So in eating, making sure your food is biodynamic, organic, pesticide-free, having a really healthy balance. That's what I advise to my clients, of having just good veggies from raw, if your body can handle it, to steamed, cooked, baked, getting your good root vegetables, meat if your body really needs it, and be intentional about, if you're eating an animal's life, to give thanks. No matter what food, if you're eating, if it's especially animal-based, but thanking the farmers who grew the food that you're about to eat. Thanking the chicken, the beef, the lamb's life, the chicken for laying the egg that's able to nourish and allow your body to thrive.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm kind of just imagining this. It's almost like a Maslow's hierarchy, right? You have a client come in, they're saying, "Hey, I'm depressed," or the variety of different people and life circumstances that you help out. And so you're starting with food, moving into maybe emotional, relational work, and then kind of that self-actualization, highest level.
Exactly.
I would love to just hear, like, what results do you see? I mean, okay, you're having somebody come in who's, saying XYZ is wrong, and then you're saying, okay, hey, let's get you on some better water supply, let's get you on some better, food sourcing here. Like, are you seeing tangible results there in mindset, emotional well-being?
Yes. The first question I begin with working with a client is, what change do you want to see within yourself? Because that's what their focus is on right now in their life. So we start at that point. The tangible results are better sleep. One of my clients was on a oxygen tank at night. And after working together for a month, her oxygen tank, she didn't need it anymore. Her body was able to hold a 98 to 99% oxygen ratio versus she was in the 70s before. And that's with adding breath exercises. So your body's really able to get high quality breath. That was done by a dear friend of mine, colleague, Colin. He's a breathwork practitioner, and he was able to work with my client on her breath work, then looking at the water supply and all those factors. But yes, it's better sleep, better breath when it comes to oxygen intake, how you react. So working with one of my clients who had high trauma from their childhood and then relationships that were damaging with abuse, there was a lot of the fight or flight, there was a lot of that flight mentality of when trauma would happen, freezing or running away. And it was reprogramming how they react and respond. And tangible was just being calm and saying, hey, asking yourself, how do I want to react? And with my client, she was able to get back to a state of, hey, I want to react with peace right now because that's what my body deserves. That was a tangible shift she saw in her life.
Wow. Yeah, I would love to just hear like an array, a full display of just different types of people and different types of scenarios and where you've taken them from and to.
Yeah, so the different areas would be from trauma in past relationships. There's a principle in shamanism. It's also just in emotional therapeutic healing, which is energy retrieval. You go back into your moment in your life when the trauma occurred. You close your eyes, take a breath in, visualize that moment where that fight happened or that trauma occurred, and saying, hey, I reclaim my energy. It does not serve being there anymore. It is my own. And in one of those areas, my client was able to take back and recover from that trauma and owning the fact that they have the power within themselves to heal. To knowing when my client has autism. And there's a lot of just language barriers, knowing about 3 to 4 words, not really know how to communicate and emote, using a word pad on their iPad to express themselves. From that area, we worked off of going from manding statements. Those are wants and needs. So I want hug. I want love. I want snack. And when you're coming from that place of intention of what you really want and need, that's when my client's ability to bring words back flourished. We added in from heavy metal detox protocols to
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Tell me that term again. Mandy statements? Is that
manding? M-A-N-D.
M-A-N-D.
So what am I
similar to demanding?
Yes. So manding is a principle that goes, I used to be a behavioral therapist. That's one of my backgrounds in my training. It's under the RBT, Registered Behavioral Therapist title. And that's one of the tactics and modalities that I was taught that I've implemented in different ways in my life. Because language gets really complicated sometimes when you get overwhelmed with your emotions, with your words, you're not showing what to say. It's simplifying and bringing it back down to a 2, 3, 4, 5 word statement. I need love. I need space.
Wow.
I need breath.
Oh, my heart just did something there. I want a button that just says I need love, and I can press it whenever.
Yep, exactly. And that's the power of intention, of recognizing your words are really powerful. But when you say, well, you're telling someone, hey, I love you, I love this, I love that, how much power is really in that word love versus saying, I need love? When you make it personal, I need a hug. Make it personal to yourself. That's when your heart is speaking, it's singing, it's saying, hey, I truly need this in my system right now. And then the mind kicks in saying, okay, there's no one here right now maybe to give you love, but then you ask yourself, how do I give myself love? And that is just maybe cozying up with a warm blanket, making some warm tea, some chai, a little matcha in the morning, having some cacao, get that good magnesium in the body to soothe the heart. And that's the power of the simple words, because it begins just this intentional, purposeful thought process that ultimately leads to your healing. And that's when so with my client with autism, now they are up to, believe right now, 125 to 140 words that they're able to use.
Wow.
Breakdowns, outbreaks of just rage have definitely died down, because the lack of ability to communicate, facilitating my client, he had a lot of just inner rage, because you can't communicate. You're not getting your needs met. You're not even able to facilitate what your own needs are. Yeah. So when you begin that process, you're really able to feel and see, you're pretty much getting what you need. And that was with someone who was 14 years old. Another client with autism was a 3-year-old child, and he was not able to be potty trained yet. And the family tried and they tried and they tried. And it began with demandings, the speaking of, I need handhold. I need hand to hold the hand to walk to the bathroom. And just really just creating simple areas of how to speak. After a month period, after working with the child, he was fully potty trained. Just really speaking into what does that look like to ask. Reward system, just not treats or candy, but after he used the bathroom, it's a hug, it's a high five. It's playing outside, it's rewarding something to the brain, saying, hey, I did something that was good for myself. Here's something, I'm doing this to honor and reward myself for a positive outcome. Wow. It's simple.
That's such a deep 3 years old, getting those messages, just profound.
Yeah. And it's a really, really, really fun process. There was a talk I listened to recently. It was a course by Esther Perel. She's one of my favorite authoresses and speakers and coaches, and she's a wonderful soul. Yeah. Her course is how to turning conflict into conversation. And one of the main lessons is, this is why I apply to a lot of my clients, and this feeds into my next client, is, well, her statement is, you have a commitment to your assumptions more than your relationship. So when you're assuming that, even it can be with yourself, saying, man, I cannot get myself out of bed today. You're assuming that. You're saying, this person is going to get angry with me. Or I just do not have energy to live my life anymore. You're putting assumptions on yourself. And then it feeds into your relationships, or someone's trying to help you, and you're assuming, well, they don't know how to help me. They don't know what my pain is like. Or it's those areas. And when you recognize and you zoom out and say, hey, I'm not going to live in assumptions. Assumptions do not equal a result that is beneficial. There's intuition, and being intuitive, saying, hey, there's a pattern of this person causing harm to me. That's one thing. However, like physical harm, things of that nature. However, when you're in that assumption state, you're already burning the bridge before it happens. So taking that time to zoom out, with one of my clients, they really struggled. She struggled with having close friendships in her life. work, anything at work, always thinking that someone, the boss, wanted to fire her, or her close friends wanted to backstab her. And this stemmed from childhood trauma of just always being wrong in the family, being blamed. It's a blame game that happened, unfortunately, in the family. It's kind of like that fight or flight. Do you stay or do you go? She always left because that was her defense mechanism. And when we zoomed out and said, hey, take a breath for a moment. How do you want your reality to be right now? How do you want your relationships to be in your life? That's when the light bulb went off of saying, I actually want quality relationships in my life. And then, then begin treating people with that same quality and you receive it in return. And that's when now she has 2 amazing best friends in her life. She's working in an industry, a job that she really enjoys. It's just fine little tweaks, and the root of it is all intention.
Wow. Yeah. It's so meaningful just to hear. I mean, every time you tell me a story of one of your clients, it just blows my mind a little more. It's like, wow, you're helping that person with these kind of techniques and mindsets as well. It's so widely applicable. It's really cool to see.
Yeah. Initially I thought I really wanted to hyper focus and be specialized. And then I realized I think, okay, coaching, you must specialize on just one area of trauma, or intentional of just being clean on your water, clean on your food, clean on your, like figuring out the best career for you, being in career coaching. And I realized that they all interplay with each other. There's not one area. If someone says, hey, I just want to have a better work relationship and just good time at my job, it really comes down to, are you enjoying where you're at? If you're really not vibing there, you want to make a shift, then you have to look at your lifestyle. Well, are you not eating well? Are you not hydrated enough? So it's that's why it's a whole lifestyle intention base.
Yeah, so good. So great to hear. I'd love to take a dive more into your personal life, your personal story. You've gone on this journey. You have become, this person that is able to just show up. It's just fiercely for all these different people. Yeah, I would love to just hear just a brief overview. What's the backstory here? Who have you been in previous chapters? What led you to these realizations?
Yeah, life has definitely been a non-stop lesson. Growing up, when I was 3 months old, my dad was diagnosed with brain cancer. And throughout the entire life of me being raised, my dad had cancer. And he passed when I was 9 years old. And going through that process, I had to really see someone who was going and try to hold space in a way, being a child, for someone who was suffering and not being fully connected to their own mind and their own traumas. Then seeing my mom going through her grieving process. And what does that look like to lose your spouse, your best friend, someone you love? Being an only child, I was my own self-soother. I didn't have many close friendships, if any, when I was younger. And it really was trying to figure out my own soothing methods. And that what for me was listening to jazz music and laying outside on the grass underneath the sky and just watching the clouds. Drawing, painting, little things like that, just was my modality of healing. And that carried on probably until my mid-teens. I really focused on, since only child, me taking care of my mom, being the best of the best, turning that into perfectionism, of having to always take care of mom, of always having to have everything cleaned. And that turned into almost an OCD obsession of having to always be perfect and always making people happy, to people pleasing. And I realized probably like later teens, early 20s, how that really led to just self-sabotage, about not allowing the flow to happen in my life, in that flow state of just experiencing emotions, the non-attachment mentality, which I did not know when I was younger, and letting it flow. So going through the death of my dad, being there, being the only child with my mom, the experiences of that growing up, initially when I was 11 years old, I was diagnosed with Asperger's. And I've been finding it's actually more common than not. I just went to a conference recently I was tested on a lot with a lot of different pharmaceuticals and medications, from stimulants, depressants, things similar to Adderall, to all the PAM family, lorazepam, Neurontin. There's a whole list of chemicals, pharmaceuticals I was put on for about a 5-year period, a 5-year period from 11 to 16, and which really dampened even like lithium. So all different things I was tested upon. And that really shut off a lot of my emotions. I did not know how to feel because I was chemically being interfered with. And then around that 17, about mid 16, I had that epiphany of, hey, I'm done with this. I need to make change in my life. It's not feeling good because I'm numb to the world around me. And that's when a lot of these shifts began of, okay, eating a little bit cleaner. I did not know about clean water at that point. So I just upped my water intake, which helped. And then I began being more obsessed and driven to be in the gym. Just, if I didn't realize the whole sweating in the gym, getting toxins out was a thing. So I just enjoyed working out because it made me feel good. So that was part of that process of healing, was just being in the gym, having your gym buddies. And the first time you can able to get the bench you're looking for, to squat, work on mobility, just getting that physical strength, which embodied and gave me the ability to have the heart strength in life. And that's one of the key things that began my focus on health. From there, I became a rehab personal trainer at the age of 19. I was certified and got my degree within the fitness specialty administration side. So working with people who have sciatica, disc injuries, shoulders, hips, knees, getting things to be rebalanced in the body. One of my gifts is being able to tell in the body where the pain is coming from, and feeling how to heal and facilitate healing in the body. If it's doing a certain stretch, activation of a muscle. I use something called MAT, muscle activation technique, which is a way to reawaken a muscle and get it firing in the right order. So it's helping support the body. During that process of the rehab personal training, muscle activation, that's when my next epiphany came of, wow, if I can activate these muscles, this area in the body to feel better, how can I activate my brain, my mind, my heart? And that's when they began to focus on nootropics, some lion's mane, cordyceps, different area in the natural mental recovery piece. And then from there, it's just been a waterfall of amazingness and just, I'd say, tough but beautiful, blissful lessons of learning how to enhance and improve my system to become my greatest version.
Wow. Yeah. Just profound to just hear all those stages, right? I mean, you're talking about early death of your father into these kind of like OCD type tendencies, into pharmaceuticals, into getting off the pharmaceuticals, just profound. Yeah. And the way that it kind of all snowballs into just this huge array of wisdom and like different experiences, different ways you can help people out today.
Yeah, the mindset thank you. The mindset I pulled from that is, you can't get healthy in the same environment you got sick
in. Yeah, do you want to go deeper into that? That's a quote for a t-shirt.
It is. It's from Dr. Perry Nickerson. His focus is on lymphatic work and just the overall system of how to cleanse the body and heal the system.
Let me say it again. You can't heal in the same environment you got sick in. Is that it?
Yeah, you can use that one. His quote is, you can't get healthy in the same environment you got sick in.
Get healthy. Okay. And then what's encapsulated in environment here?
Environment is your literal home. It is the mindset. The environment is your mind. So if your mindset is saying you can't do it, you stay with that same, I can't do it, or there's no way this is going to happen mindset, nothing's going to shift. Life is a continuous cycle of change. We're always changing with every breath. Our body is moving. Our cells are restructuring. They're detoxifying. They're nutrifying. Change is inevitable because stagnation, truthfully, is death. The only form of when we have True stagnation is when our heart stops. But then change happens when our body decomposes, when our life cycle moves forward. So you have to ask yourself, is your environment conducive to your healing? Is your environment making you uplifted and thrive, or is it diminishing and taking from your system? It's that balance. And you have to make sure you're in a space that you feel loved. And that can even be yourself in your own home. Are you loving yourself with your friends? Is your closest 5-6 friends in your group, are they uplifting? That's your environment. Is the music you listen to, is that pushing you forward or holding you back? Like one of the mindsets of music is a lot of musical artists and performers, they get paid really well when they first come out with a song when they're in a very deep state of even despair maybe. And they realize, man, I got paid really well for this. I'm going to stay in that same track line. Well, a lot of these artists, unfortunately, they stay in that state of sadness, and a lot of times they either will take their own life to go on to alcohol dependency, drug dependency. They'll go fall into addiction because they're still being addicted to a certain one-track mind of I'm tired or I'm sick or I need to keep producing sad music. The question is, what song are you playing in your mind? What track is going through your mind, and what are you telling yourself? Is that track moving you forward? Is that song always changing and you're adding more? It's a new album every day or every month, a week? Or are you on the same song on repeat every single day?
Wow, what an example. I gauge my overall sense of wellness by what song is in my head at the moment. I can really tell. It's like, oh, Matt, you got that one in your head. Time to do something.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. And then I also just want to touch on, so then just kind of on career track here, like where you're going with your life. I know you've taken some dives in some different directions into retail management. Can you just touch on like that dance between this coaching, this kind of one-on-one work and other endeavors, and ultimately like what led you to the moments that are, the background of the steps you're taking today?
Yeah. So I got into the retail trade from being a store director of sales, because I love talking to people and I love facilitating connection, change, and growth. I didn't realize at that time when I was in retail, I just love selling because there's reward, money. But then I realized there's a term, it's called value-based selling, which is selling with integrity and making sure when you're selling something, it's a story that aligns with the customer's story they're telling themselves. Saying, I'm going on this first day right now. I need to have a shirt that shows me off. Then asking them, well, what's your personality? What colors speak to you? What story do you want to be told with your clothing? And that's the value base behind it. So when it comes to where I'm at now, one of my greatest passions and where I'm at and where I'm heading is the interdependence and connectedness. I love networking people and bringing together different groups. If I know someone who really needs support and I have someone who can help, I'll bridge them together. I love introducing people and really bridging those gaps, because we can't get things accomplished by ourselves. We can do the inner work by ourselves. There's a lot we can do for ourselves. But when we're in a society and a community to commune, to come together, that is really where the magic begins when it comes to spreading and giving your gift to the world around you. So it's creating different internal networks, different groups that people can come together. When someone comes to me saying, hey, I really need to have clean water, I know where to send them. I'm looking for someone who can help me when it comes to relationships. I know who to send them to and connect them. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm going. And just really furthering my coaching business to help people reconnect with each other. Because there's that awkward moment of when you're in a group of people, who do I talk to? How do I introduce myself? How do I get to know these people? That's when you step back and you go into your own intention, saying, well, my intention for who I am is I am a person who just loves to hold space for others, to listen without having a response in my mind ready to go, and just hear someone. Who in this room wants to be heard? Who wants to tell me their story? Who wants to share? So that's how I conquered, and that's how I work when it comes to working with groups of people. That's helping you find your own specific path, and that's what I work with my clients. Is how do you connect with others? Because the main piece of all of my coaching, maybe someone who has autism, how they can communicate with others. Maybe someone who struggled with work, how they communicate with others and connect with themselves. Someone who had a rough breakup and trying to reconnect with their mom. How can they reconnect with communication to themselves and to their parents? The main thing is communication, connection with intention.
So yeah, hearing this story, and a large part of this intention of this podcast is really to help people who are exploring, like, how can they bring their life's calling to the world? How can they connect to that sense of purpose and then actually actualize it, right? Go actually start helping people, actually start getting the clients, actually start showing up in that way. And so I think it's just amazing to see you as a role model, as an example of somebody that has, in a lot of ways, dived in and out of the corporate world, in and out of these different career tracks. And you've made this big plunge into like fully embracing this coaching work recently. I would love to just hear, what's the timeline on that? What has that been like? What steps did you take? And almost to get really like nuts and bolts, like what specific tools have helped you? What, how do you reach out to people? How did you get started in this specific chapter?
Yeah, so coaching business began roughly about 4 years ago, 5. Truly like the full dive and stepping away from corporate. What got me started was career coaching, because this was during COVID and lockdowns, and people were losing their jobs. Companies were reallocating. They were closing up shop, and they did not know how to connect with their customers. Again, communication. So it's working off of the omni-channel support of how can they sell on their e-commerce website? How can they have their employee, opposed to laying them off, retrain them so they can do inventory stocking for drop shipping? Who can work off a website design? Who can do videos and help with testimonials for products and network to different customers, so they can build their brand awareness and integrity building, because a customer can't come into the store, but they can hear a testimony off of a video that's on a company's website.
So COVID is happening and all these people are getting laid off, and you had this insight of, hey, we could kind of coach people to repurpose, find new positions. Like,
yes.
I would love to go back to like day one of that. Like where is Ethan in the world where you're like, I'm going to do that, and then you went and did it? I would just love to hear that story.
Yeah. So COVID happened, lockdown. I was like, okay, so I'm going to go to Sedona, Arizona. I'm going to be in the desert and the warmth and just have some solitude a little bit and think. So stores closed. There's no work for me. Just was laid off. Perfect timing. Just enjoying being in the desert. And I began seeing just some people texting me saying, hey, because I was a store director, hey, do you know any jobs? Do you know anywhere I can go? Or other businesses I knew in the area who closed, saying, hey, do you know anyone who can help me do stocking? Or I'm about to lose my business and my lease because I'm not doing sales. What should I do? So I began going through my network and began asking friends who had their own website development. One of the partners I work with, she has a PhD from Harvard, and her background is intentional website design and building a website that shows who you are with the keywords SEO, all those little things that really make sure that you're hitting your target market. So I began building the team of people who are great at content writing, websites, different groups, people on LinkedIn, people who are looking for jobs, my own network messaging friends and other business owners, store managers, associates, saying, hey, where are you at right now? What kind of support do you need? And I began asking businesses, what do you see happening and what do you need? The key thing is, well, how do we sell a product if we are not facing the customer? Because that's what a lot of coaches, they hit that wall. And I hit it as well too, is how do I reach a customer base who's not on my face, who I'm not talking to? And that's when you're utilizing podcasts, when you're utilizing YouTube videos, making courses, going through making your own website, using things from Squarespace, having someone build it for you depending on your budget, and even word of mouth, talking to friends. It's building that network to support you in that process. And that's how you get your name and your work out there.
Wow. So I'm really hearing like the superpower that you leveraged is your ability to connect people, to network. You just started having people asking you, hey, I need work, da, da, da. And then, you go right to who can I plug you in with? And that kind of built an ecosystem around you. Is that true?
That's correct. And in that process, that's when it transitioned to, because the biggest thing what people were looking for jobs, I was helping people build resumes, because being in the corporate role, I saw hundreds of resumes. And I say yes and no to people. Work even with my team, when they would say move on to another job or get promoted, they would need a resume. So I helped them redesign their resume, make it marketable, found the key things that help them grow. Throughout seeing different resumes being shared with me and study, one of the key things in resumes, I'll just give a couple of tips really quickly, and how to get your name out there is, one, always put your name, phone number, email address at the header on top of your resume. If there's 20 pieces of paper in that stack, have your name always being seen on top at all time. It's always there. Name your resume well. Don't put saying resume version 3.4, Ethan's resume 2023 or 25. Make it clear. First, last name, resume. So it's really clear and simple. On your resume and just who you are, this is your website. Sell yourself. What are your accomplishments? What have you done? Have a section called Select Accomplishments. Find 1, 2, 3, 4 things you can put there that's clear and saying, and metric based, saying, hey, I helped X amount of clients achieve their goal from financial independence. I've worked with X amount of clients who were able to who were able to improve their quality of life and how they felt. X amount of clients are able to get jobs. Have different areas on your resume, website that are pretty much testimonials from yourself about how you've achieved and what you've accomplished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the theme I'm hearing is, I think there's so many ways to make money, right? I mean, you can, come up with a widget, go sell that widget, try to convince everybody it's the thing they need. What I love about you and just the mindset that has been just really inspiring me, even more so recently, it's like, this is it, is just like really going out and asking, how can I really help whoever's in front of me?
Exactly. And because it's your community. If you're at a job, you're there 40 hours a week. If you're with your partner you've been with for 9 years, 10 years, with your close friends, whatever that may be, asking yourself, how can I serve them? How can I help them? What need do they have that I can provide them a solution? Being solution-minded. Not saying, well, I don't know. It's okay, I don't know, but be solution-minded to always find a way to help a group. There's ways you can look online. What are the most Googled terms, most Googled questions? And find those are a list of problems. That's how YouTube videos get so many views. They put a catcher line of there of what happens when we drop this bowling ball 500 feet down. Yeah. What will happen to my relationship if I end it now? It's the catchwords, the trigger words.
Yeah.
That's the same idea when it comes to how I build community and network, is asking, what are the needs? What's going to happen if you step outside your box? What's going to happen if you ask for help? What's going to happen if you actually begin making that first recording of your podcast, of your video? What does that feel like to just try something different, new? Because that stagnation is not taking you anywhere. Nowhere.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I would love to just ask, such a big part of this, something that I've contended with for, many, many years now. And it's like, we have this, I don't know, I would say you and I are both kind of humans with big hearts. Like we want to help. And then there's all these narratives around money and like this kind of fend for yourself mindset that is, so common if you take any kind of content in the world in at all. Yeah, I would love to just hear, like, how has your relationship with money evolved throughout these practices, throughout your experiences of like really showing up and helping people?
Yeah. Money used to be toxic to me because I didn't understand the power of the tool. I viewed it as, because I did not know how to create it. And a lot of times we are scared of the things we do not know how to harness and how to utilize. that shifted when I realized that even if money did not exist, there would be another currency. Currency is just a frequency of something that's always moving. That's all money is. It's something that's always moving. And how do you keep it moving? How do you acquire it? How do you build it? It can be from, if you're in farmland, how many seeds do you got? How many squashes, pumpkins, tomatoes? Everything can be a currency. When it comes to money, it's that realization, that epiphany that it literally can open up doors. I can feed and fuel other people's growth and development. I can build networks with it. I'm able to host areas that people can come together for dinners. The power of just having a dinner together and saying, hey, come on over, 5, 6, 10 friends, and saying, let's have a group dinner together and let's make an amazing meal. And that's when I take in the knowledge from clean water, really amazing high quality food, from a nice or like import Italian pesto to really beautiful noodles, local mushrooms, and the matsutakis, whatever they may be, making a meal that nourishes the body. Because that money, that tool, by spending it, because it's $50 a pound for matsutakis, you're supporting the farmers going out there. And then that food is nourishing other people to give you information and to work together because it's healing their minds and their bodies. So when you realize that money is a healing tool and it helps yourself, it helps others around you, you step into the point that money comes easily to me. Money comes easily to you. Money always flows. I'm not afraid of money. It's that step of one of the first things I learned years ago was it's called your financial blueprint. Of when I say, hey, I'm worth $60,000 a year, for example. So if you make $75,000, you're probably going to blow the other $15,000 because you're not going to know how to spend it. But you feel like I'm worth 60, so you attract a $60,000 a year job, or that's how much you'll make. And it's telling yourself, I attract abundance. I attract whatever comes my way. I attract as much money as possible because I know with that money what to do with it. I know how to reinvest it in myself and others. I will keep that currency moving to help myself and people around me. And that it's that giving state with money. It's not just selfishness. It's great to be selfish and have that ego when it comes to, I will nourish myself, because the more you're nourished, the more tools and power you have to help others. So money is a gift. It's a blessing.
Yeah. I love what you're saying about just, it's like, once you have more of an intention of this is why I would like money and this is what I'm going to do with it, it suddenly, to relate it to my own experience, I had a job. I was getting a pretty huge paycheck, like definitely way more than I'd ever made before. And all this money would come into my bank account. And it really was just such a lesson of like, wow, it's not the money itself that is, like it didn't make me any happier. I don't know, all the cliches, but it's super true. And as that money came into my bank account, I just looked at it and I was like, I have no idea what to do with this. Like no clue. And I literally was like Venmoing friends $1,000 just to almost get it out of my psyche. Like it was like a weight more than, or created more questions than answers.
It's profound.
Yeah. I love what you're saying about like just build a framework of, with this money, I will do this good. I will do this healing. I will uplift my friends. I will nurture people. That's just having that framework, having that understanding seems to be like really a key to the whole system there.
Oh yeah. I began a simple book, Money Mastered the Game by Tony Robbins. It's one of the books that was recommended to me. And it learn about financial framework, seeing what money can do. And seeing what you can do with it. Because we're always about that instant gratification. If I don't have it now, it's not worth having. No, you have to work for it because someone else worked for it to build it for you. And you're putting the energy in for all the energy it took to create it. And it's that balance. So educate yourself. Just do some research. Best money management books for investments, books for mutual funds, whatever that may be, index funds. Find anything you can and just learn about how currency flows.
Yeah, it's such a great question. I feel like it's the strongest mirror to hold up to anybody. It's like, hey, how do you feel about money? You know where their heart's at right away.
Exactly. Yeah. Just be patient. Think about it. When money comes to you, if you need to sleep on it, sleep on it. And just look at it in account, see it as a tool, and then just say, how do I want to invest in myself and others?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Hey, so I would love to just kind of heading towards a wrap up here. I would love to go into just what are the biggest takeaways, the biggest pieces of wisdom you could pass on to anybody else who's, a healer, a coach, stepping into that space of wanting to serve others. You've been doing it for many years now in many different contexts. Do you have just just the biggest lessons that you would love to impart to our listeners?
Yeah. I would say just start talking to people, just trying it all. One networks I began using was Thumbtack years ago.
Yeah. You've had a lot of success with that. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Thumbtack is just a coaching. It's a provider platform. It's kind of like Angie's List, where providers put their posts, and then when a customer is interested, you get contacted. It's not cheap. It's definitely expensive. There's going to be a good period of people reaching out, and they're not going to be sure. You're still paying lead fees. There's still cost to it. To be prepared, you will not always see a return right off the bat, and that's okay. But it's part of that process. Every time someone reaches out to you, you get charged, and that's part of their business model. But it has turned very successful for myself when acquiring clients. Anywhere that you can get your name out there, sponsoring as a little podcast, an event where a community is, providing a service, go somewhere and have amazing quality tea with clean water, good herbs, offer a tea for an event. Anywhere you can get your name out there and create conversation, that's one of the key areas. If you don't have access to events or it's a budget, use your smartphone. Use a little camera, get videos going. Just something small, Instagram posts, quotes, what lesson you're learning for that day, what lesson you're learning in general in life. Anything you can do just to get yourself known, your name as a reference point, and say, man, I actually want to reach out to him. I want to have that or her. I want to have that conversation with them. Show your greatest qualities and show what your intention is, and asking yourself, what is my intention with others? How can I best serve my community, and then broadcast that.
Yeah, one of the life lessons I've just been riding with just full blast recently is just, hey, put yourself in the room and then the rest will take care of itself. Whatever that room is, it could be online, it could be in person. Just like get yourself out of the door and go put yourself in the room and then let it unfold.
Exactly. That is a very potent piece of advice. I appreciate that one. That's good.
Yeah. It's so great because it just kind of it plays with the unknown, right? Anything could happen. You don't get to pick what happens. It's just okay, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do this, and here we go. This is now happening. There's so much more in the world than our minds can wrap our head around, right?
Oh yeah. It's just like, well, actually, one more thing too is do something simple on your Instagram, Facebook. Put a Calendly link. Get something to have as scheduling. Initially, I thought over a year, 2 years ago, I'll just continue to be word of mouth, which has been great. I put a Calendly link up there. One person resonated, another one did. I just consistently got bookings and built. I initially used a free version of it, and over time, just built more and more momentum. So just get ways for people to contact you. So make sure that people have a way of reaching out, sending a message, whatever that may be, on Instagram, having your email address. Always make sure you have a connection point with people, so they have a way to have a human-to-human connection with you.
Great. Yeah, that's such good advice, right? It's like allowing allowing the current that wants to happen, allowing the flow of the river to go where it wants to go, and like opening those, I guess, maybe portals is the word, the places where people can just tangibly actually take those next steps with you.
Exactly. And yeah, it just really, I think that's going to be the most potent area is open the door for people. Make sure that people feel welcome to have that conversation with you. Just ask. A little thing is, a little advice is, don't always ask someone, oh, how are you? Say, change it to, how are you feeling today? And let someone just tell you how they're feeling. They don't need to be responded to. They don't need to be a reaction. It can just be, I was listening. Maybe they're not looking for you to give them the solution. They're just looking to be heard because they need to just express their own words. And when it comes to growing your coaching business, let people just talk. You don't have to have every answer for them. But you can tell them we'll work on a solution together. Be humble and be brave to say it's okay. It's okay. We'll figure this out. There's a way. We'll find a way. And yeah, just not every solution. If it took 10 years to build trauma or like a couple months of trauma, it's not going to always be released in one breath.
Yeah.
And working together to release it.
Wow. Humble and brave. That's such a, I feel like I don't hear that much. I know a lot of very brave people and a lot of very humble people. Yeah, there's really something to that intersection.
Mm-hmm. It's, I would say, it just feeds into just being kind with people. You don't know what someone's going through. Be loving. In coaching, a lot of coaches, it's always high structure, which is great because we all need structure and guidance when we go through a coaching plan. I've had plenty of coaches in my life, but some of my greatest coaches had a plan, but it was not set in stone. It was just, okay, these are some starting points and some questions and areas that we can work through. Let's have the conversation begin. And then we just talk and we just have that ongoing, constant conversation.
I would love to think that that's where this podcast is going, right? And just here's kind of what we're going to talk about and see what actually needs to come out on each day.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
Well, Ethan, such a treat to have you. It's just, knowing your life story, knowing who you are, how you show up in the world, truly an honor to share an hour with you. I was actually sitting there just like, wow, so cool. I got to just sit and talk to you for an hour. Really, really powerful messages. I would love to just ask, just to wrap up, where can people find you? Links, websites, like what's going on? If somebody's hearing right now and they're like, oh my God, I need to talk to this guy, where do they go?
Yeah, I kept it simple. Keep it simple. Just go on Instagram. My Instagram is Balancing the Fire. You can look up Ethan Radstone as well too. Just so you can book me on Calendly on there, or also send me a message. I will leave everyone just with one thought, a little golden nugget is, how would you speak to someone if it was going to be your last conversation with them? And that's how to start with conversations with others. It's just to lead with your heart and just love people for who they are.
Wow. I'm getting chills as you're saying that. And as I'm thinking about, landing the podcast here, just the thought crossed my mind, like, wow, what if this was the last time I ever talked to Ethan? What if this was our last moment? And I'm almost tearing up. I mean, I just think I just really, really want to say, like, you've had such an impact on my life. Just your aura, how you show up, just kind of your core way of being is so powerful. There's been so many moments where I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to call Ethan. I really want you to know that you're just an exceptional human. And it's been, just beyond words to have a relationship with you in my life.
That really means a lot, brother. I really appreciate that, Matt. You're an amazing soul. I appreciate you creating a podcast for people to speak from their heart and speak from their soul and just listen and hold space for others so they can find themselves, express who they are. Definitely value you. You're a beautiful soul. And there's no one better I can think to create such a wonderful podcast and a network for others.
Well, thank you, Ethan. I hope I see you again. Knock on wood on the last conversation.